Today was yet another day that the Supreme Court chose not to issue key rulings on abortion, access, guns, or presidential immunity. And it's been roughly 2 weeks since we learned that the Alitos foisted an inverted flag and an appeal to heaven flag, both of which were carried by insurrectionists outside the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Recently, we've received regular reminders of how Donald Trump and Leonard Leo, a longtime pal of Clarence Thomas, have successfully built a conservative federal judiciary with a deep bench and feeder system supported by a big donor network that regularly wines and dines these judges. Leo's stated goal with all of this corrupt, incestuous behavior is to defeat, quote, unchurched and vile, immoral, current-day barbarians, secularists, whom the devil is using to move society away from its natural order, unquote. Huffington Post uncovered the latest example of that rotten playbook in action. Down in Florida, back in 2022, during the tail end of the COVID pandemic, an underqualified Trump-nominated judge issued a ruling against mask mandates. This judge used a weird, never-used legal theory that you could word search like key phrases and apply the old-timey meanings to provide legitimacy to the ruling. And guess where this judge got this legal theory? At a Koch-funded, all-expenses-paid luxury trip where the primary mission was persuading federal judges to adopt this arcane theory. And guess who the judge clerked for? You guessed it, Clarence Thomas. Today, Fix the Court reported that, according to their tally, Justice Thomas has received the most gifts of any judge dating back to the Antonin Scalia era during his time on the court, by a mile, with 193 gifts totaling more than $4 million. I'm joined now by Elie Mystal, justice correspondent for The Nation. So at this point, Elie, I guess they just take all the 30-year-old right-wing college graduates from Liberty University and just send them on fancy trips, and then they're Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, I think it's important for people to ask, what are these people paying for, right?
Yeah.
What are they getting for their $4 million they've given to Clarence Thomas over the past 20 years? And what they're getting, just to link your last segment together, what they're getting is what Byron Donalds wants. What they're getting is Jim Crow, right? What they're getting is a guy like Clarence Thomas who, like Byron Donalds, entire judicial philosophy is that, well, some Negroes are magic, right? And no matter what the white man does to us, we can just rise above as long as they don't shoot us or kill us or rape us or drown us, right? And if you tell people that, if you're black, if you're Donalds, if you're Thomas, and you tell white people that, they will give you money. And that is what's happened to Clarence Thomas for 20 years. He has told white folks exactly what they want to hear, ruled exactly as they would like him to rule, and done it as their black friend. And so the money is just pouring out. And you see it in these reports where, again, Clarence Thomas, in the figures that we saw today, Sam Alito made like $200,000 over the past, disclosed gifts over the past 20 years. Antonin Scalia, the hero of their movement, again, around $200,000. Clarence Thomas, $4 million.
It's wild.
That's why Tim Scott exists. That's why Byron Donald exists. That's why Candace Owens exists, because the grift is good. There's a lot of money in telling white folks what they need to hear.
It is amazing, because when I looked at the chart, it was like, I thought that Clarence Thomas's was the total because it was so much bigger. Antonin Scalia, like you said, is six figures. He's in the 2, the 3 to 4. This guy is, and you're right, it is a thing that the right is willing to pay extra to get women, and especially black people, to tell them what they want to hear about women and black people. Tell them that black people don't want to be able to have a fearless fund. They shouldn't be able to give 20. I wanted, if I had time, to ask him if he supported the fearless fund being not able to give grants out. I'm sure he does, because that's what he's supposed to say.
I mean, look, it makes me I looked at that chart today. I look at people like Donaldson and think, man, I made the wrong financial choices in my life, right? Because there's money out there for these people, but always remember, and I just want folks to remember this, they're getting something for their money.
Yes, they are.
This
Yeah.
isn't charity, right? They're getting rulings, they're getting opinions, they're getting the kind of return to not 1950s, but to the 1850s that they want for their funds. And if we, the rest of us who are not making it, the other funny thing is that, you saw like the liberals, like Sotomayor, had like a bunch of gifts, but they were clearly all like $5, right? People are giving, like, here's a flower, Sonia, like that's what she was getting, right? So all of us who don't have the money to buy our own Supreme Court justices, what we need to do is use what power we have, the power we didn't have during the Jim Crow South, and go out and vote for people who are going to hold the Supreme Court justices to heal through ethics legislation and other reforms. Hank Johnson, congressman from Georgia, my man, he's got an ethics bill right now on the House floor. We need to vote for people who are going to support that bill and ask our political leaders when we go to vote, are you going to support ethics reform?
Yes.
No more nice letters, all right? No more like, oh, we're not, no more of that stuff. Are you going to support the bills to stop these people from graft?
Amen, my brother. Elie Mystal, who understands what Jim Crow was and also what the grift looks like, because the grift is good for Clarence and them. Thank you very much, Elie Mystal.